with the idea of like we were pretty interested in this card. Uda's Blackguard was specifically Stalker, make your opponent discard their hand, put counters on stuff with Grange, so this card is better. And every single time we play a deck with Idyllic Grange, we've done it a few times, usually in like Heliod shells or whatever. But we played a few different Idyllic Grange decks. Grange always like overperforms. It is just usually so impressive to have not three, but like this deck has 12, 13 fetch lands plus 3 Granges. Wow, you have 16 utility lands in your deck. And so I just was like, what if instead of playing Grange, which is great, in decks that are kind of medium, what if we played the +1 counter utility land in the +1 counter deck? What if we scrapped the Inkmoth Nexus Urza Saga mana base and played an Idyllic Grange mana base in Scales? And I played a few matches with the deck last night. It's, like usual, a little early to tell. But I would say the Grange mana base felt great. Is it better than Inkmoth Nexus Urza Saga? That's not something I'm sure. Like the main thing I missed was like Urza Saga being able to like find me Shadow Spear, and I missed also like having those like find you sideboard cards and like really relevant cards for matchups. That's something I really missed. But the Granges were great. Like I several times I just had 2 Scales in play, and I Granged, put 3 counters on my Walking Ballista, and like it just won me the game immediately. It was an incredibly impactful thing to have so many copies of the card. You also get Esper Sentinel, which is incredible. 1-drop of Modern obviously gets Bowmastered or whatever, but you have lots of ways to buff it in this deck, so it's a little bit more resilient to Bowmaster. An incredible card in this deck that is pretty dang easy to cast. And also, like, your mana for Zabaz and your mana in general gets better. Like, I know it's weird to be playing so many white sources in, like, a mostly green deck, but we have more green sources here than we've had in other versions of Scales. I actually found it also, like, I hardcast Force of Vigor a couple times, where that's not something I feel like is as easy to do in regular Scales, not as easy to have 2 green sources. I mean, it's not that tough, I guess, but I don't think I've ever hardcasted in in regular Scales. So perhaps try some sagas in spell slots instead of lands. That's an interesting thought. So you'd have to play them over the Esper Sentinels, I think, or like the Ancient Stirrings. Probably not the Stirrings, but let's go ahead and just get into it. It's kind of weird to think of sagas as spells because they occupy your land drop. How did you decide how many to play? Granges? Well, I've just played a lot of Grange decks in the past, and I'm usually very happy with this formula of like 22, 23 lands with 3 Granges. I'm pretty happy with Granges. That's what I do at Dryad. Easy keep. How are these Eldraine common lands so busted? All of them are so good. I know. Eldraine was a ridiculous set. A truly ridiculous set. Oh, what companion did you get, though? Giganta Windswept Heath. This is interesting. Alright, so our Granges are going to be 2 counters here. Twice as effective. Go to Atlanta. Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow kind of like in the afternoon, so I'm tentatively planning on doing like short stream in the morning tomorrow. Kind of depends. But that is the plan at the moment. Zaga, Triumph, Heath, Gigant. I guess they're Domain Zoo. One League stream, maybe. I was thinking about playing my Atlantis Pioneer. I was thinking about playing the deck I'm playing. I'm pretty locked in. I haven't submitted. I'm going to submit today. I can submit today, right? Decklists are due tomorrow. So to make sure I'm not, like, missing the deck deadline. Schoolman with the 4 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Okay. Territorial Kavu. Let's go ahead and just play a Hangarback Walker this turn. Could fly the Zabaz. I think I'd rather leave up the destroy Zabaz in case they like binding my Hangarback. Deadline tomorrow because of LCQs. Right. Cool. Yeah, I'll submit tonight. I'm pretty happy with my 75. About as happy as you could be with like bannings last week, metagame changing this week. Okay, there's a binding. Just gonna let them pay for Sentinel or not. They do pay. 2 Thopters, please. Probably will chump block the Kavu with one of the Thopters. I publish those if you play on Twitter. Yeah, I usually do. Okay. So where do we want the 2 counters from the Grange to go? So I can put them on the Ravager. I have 4 counters there. I can sack the Thopter. 6 counters. Sack the Ravager, which will move 9 counters onto something. That something can be Zabaz. And then I can still have a modular from the Zabaz available if they have a removal spell. I think that makes sense. Oh, although I tapped my Sacred Foundry instead of my Temple Garden, so I don't have the Zabaz activation up. Okay, so let's just put it on the Zabaz. Kraken for 5, and then plan to like block with the Thopter Sack to Ravager. They use a removal spell here, and I get to draw a card of Sentinel. That's good. Seems like they shocked, so I would assume that they're gonna do something. No, we're just paying 3 life to be nice. I guess I could have tried to go for lethal, maybe. No, I guess I didn't quite have that much, but it's kind of weird. Because I bolt on the Ravager. Draw another land. Let's just sack the Thopter token. Seems fine. So if I don't block this Kavu, I could die to double Tribal Flames. Okay. Back to them. Idyllic Grange, baby! Let's go. Okay, so not going to want to change a ton. We could bring in some Welding Jars. Force of Vigor is actually kind of okay against them, where it hits Binding and Scion of Draco. Don't really have to play these kind of cards. Maybe just run it back. Would you have blocked? I was leaning towards block sack Sentinel, yeah. Haven't quite decided. Maybe just run it back here. Yeah, let's run it back. Zion with the 7 months. Thank you. Welcome back. And Schoolman with the 4. Thank y'all. Nice to Grange winning game 1. What a card. Yeah, the Grange is really sick. Not sure if I'm supposed to play it tapped here. I think I'm gonna go a little greedy, but you know, we just have to draw a land in the top 2 for me to get pretty rewarded here. And even like sandbagging the Zabaz has the added value of being better when we have this Ozolith in play. Although maybe this Ozolith is getting Binding or stubbed or something. Is the RC open Decklist? It is, yeah, but the Decklists aren't due yet. They're due tomorrow at like noon. So it's like I need to check the time, because if the Decklists are due in like an hour after my stream starts, I may just play like a league or 2 with again with the deck I'm planning on playing this weekend. Gonna boot up some MTGO Timeless, Mr. Streamer. I mean, it just seems like it's gonna cost thousands of dollars to start brewing in Timeless, and like several hours of like doing stuff off stream, like trying to figure out the format, so I'm not a complete amateur. But I would like to. I definitely would like to. But it does look fun. Do I believe this is a better version compared to Standard Scales? It's just too early, you know what I mean? Like this is, I think like the Grange plan is good. Like this package of cards is good, and like it has pros and cons. But it just isn't really possible to say that a build is better or worse this early into testing. When we have hundreds and hundreds of reps with Scales. And I've played like 4 matches with this deck. But I don't know, Grange is sick. You can do a lot with the counters. Alright, we're gonna go for I think Hangarback this turn before Ravager. Well, maybe I should play Ravager so that they can't binding the Hangarback. Any thoughts with the Hasbro layoffs? I mean, yeah, nothing that is like a super unique or hot take that hasn't really just been said a lot, but it's pretty lame when they're doing, the company's doing so well for them to lay off so many people. Of course, very very Nora. I don't know, the same take everybody has really. Okay, they got 1 card in their hand. Okay, now they got 2. One of them is Giganta. That other card is not a creature, probably another removal spell or Stubborn Denial. 2/2 Sentinel is a lot better than a 1/1 Sentinel. Look at this timeless deck and tell me it doesn't seem amazing. I mean, I just know it's going to. Ah! Oh my gosh. I don't know. Maybe I'll bite the bullet. I don't know. Maybe I'll bite the bullet. We'll see. So we could double block this this Kavu, and even if it goes kind of wrong, we end up with a lot of Thopters. And it's Gigantha. 2 mystery cards. Could wait a turn on the double block. Yeah, I'm down to wait a turn. What's timeless? It's like it's a new format on Arena. It's kind of like Vintage in the sense that like every card is legal, but there's like a restricted list of a few really strong cards that I can't remember. I think Channel is on there. I've been watching people play. It looks pretty fun, but I have like basically 0 Arena collection, so for me to get into it, it's the barrier to entry is kind of high. Okay, let's get it with the Sentinel. I think I'm just going to double Hangarback activate. Not going to play the Ballista this turn. Does Arena have every card on it? Oh, are you like questioning my loyalty to Magic Online or something? Okay, this is just happening. Cool. Yeah, I'm just watching Gab, Dark Ritual, and the Necropotence. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Why am I not doing that? I really don't know what's in Arena. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Who does? Oh, come on. Wait. They killed a Chain to the Rocks here. That's actually not so bad. I get to draw a card. I get these tokens. Yeah, this is not so bad. In fact, they may just be dead. Another Grange? One thing is, like, you're also so likely to draw a Grange every turn. Okay, didn't draw it this turn, though. They're dead if they have nothing, though. Let's do a vibe. Let's do an Arcbound Ravager vibe check. Cool. Alright. Undefeated with Idyllic Grange Scales. Got hit at Sugu in one. So, like, Legacy has a lot of, like, obnoxious cards that Timeless doesn't. Like, all the stupid, like, Monarch and Initiative cards on Arena, right? I find those cards to be really unfun. Obviously, there's also, like, the Alchemy cards on Arena, which are probably maybe, I don't know if they're fun, but they're really, really, really wordy. They're, like, way wordier than any Magic card ever should have been. Probably play Ravager here. Initiative isn't. I don't think it is. I could just be wrong. Moto should just add it. Maybe, yeah. I'd be down. The alchemy cards in One Ring and Timeless. Oh wait, is One Ring nerfed in Timeless like it is? Is it like are like the revised? Are they in their original printing or are they like revised power level? It's original, no nerfs. Okay, cool. Is this creativity? I played against creativity last night with this deck. Still awful matchup for Scales. Kind of flooded, huh? Save me, Idyllic Grange. Save me. There are no free spells. Interesting. Oh yeah, Pact of Negation. I played Pact of Negation in the historic PT I played. Baldur's Gate definitely has some packs, so initiative might be. Maybe it is. Bowmaster seems crazy in Legacy. How is Control Killer Scales coming along? Control Killer? Is that like a YouTube title or something? Deck's good. The Granges have been really nice. Wait, there's Brainstorm and Fetches in the format? Oh my gosh. Just seems so degenerate. Like, these degenerate formats are so fun to dip your toes into. Okay. Let's draw our card. Draw another land. I mean, I like Idyllic Grange. I don't know if I like it this much. Just gonna get creativity probably. So just awful matchup for this deck. So bad. Oh, I get to draw a card. Come on, don't tap for blue and then creativity me. Okay, thank you. Wait, Blood Crypt untapped? 6 life points? Why not dip into Vintage over new format if you want to dip into new formats? Just let me play what I want to play. Let me be interested in Timeless and play Timeless if I want to play it. It's it's new, it's unique, it's interesting. Let me play what I want to play. Let me cook. They're trying to pay 4, but they only have 3. JMX with the Sing Redemption. Gonna sing here. Flooded Strand! We really are Flooded Strand this game. Holy shit. Honestly, surprised you haven't playing Pioneer. I've been playing Pioneer every day off stream. I'm feeling pretty good about my list. Come on, dude! Okay, Idyllic Grange Mana Base Bat. What the fuck? 23 lands in the deck. 9 lands, 4 spells. Just like any artifact there lets me attack also because I can Grange the Patchwork. Without Saga, do you want less lands? Well, the thing is you want to get up to 4 lands. I was thinking between 22, 23. We're playing 23. I think if we play 22 instead of 23, it's like, you know, they're still going to have games like this sometimes. It is what it is. I don't know. I guess I could. I shouldn't have conceded. I just like tilt concede there. Just tilt concede. This city deck is capable of flooding like this. I think I'm going in on the Welding Jars. I'm going to trim Hangarback, trim a Cauldron. Trim a Stirrings. Trim a land. Trim the 2-mana Ozolith, I think. 23 seems absurdly high. It seems absurdly high? Absurdly high? I think you could cut 1. I think you could cut one, like exactly 1 land and not ever play less than 22, probably. No lander. Like, Scales usually plays 22 or 23 lands. I think I'll put back the Ravager so I can go like 1 into 2 into 1, 2. 23 seems kind of high. I think that you could make an argument for playing 22 lands, or you can make an argument for playing 23 lands. And I think you could not make a good cohesive argument for any other number. And so I think if you want to say Spike trim a land, that's okay. I know you watched me draw 10 lands and 4 spells. So like, Spike, yeah, that's just too many. Look what your deck is doing. But the deck also wants to hit its 4th land drop. So I kind of wanted to edge on the 23 side. Saga being half a land. Saga is not half a land. This is like unlearn calling Saga half a land. Saga is oftentimes 2 lands if you need it to be, because you tap it for a colorless and get a Springleaf Drum. If you need a mana from it, you could just get Drum and it replaces itself. It is certainly a land and not not any half number. Scales normally plays Caverns, so doesn't that change the math for land counts? Caverns does not impact your land count at all. Yeah, Scry is half a draw. Just got a lot to unlearn. Here, if we draw a Grange, we get to go X equals 2 Ballista and counter on another Ballista or Sentinel, which is pretty good. Yeah, but Caverns is literally just a colorless utility land. You don't think of it as 2 or half or whatever. I don't know. I hate flooding in the first 2 matches of a of a league. Where do I want this Grange? Sentinel probably seems pretty good with them being on this low mulligan. If they I can't stop them from creativitying anyways, I guess, because they have the clue token. They have to have land creativity, of course. If they block the 2/2 with the crab, I'll kill it with my 2/2 Ballista. Yeah, I mean, this matchup again, just always so bad. Could go back to Orvar's if this deck is popular again. They don't have a creativity this time, though. There's actually, I would take a Grange over a lot of cards here. Oh, we don't find one, though. Probably taking Ravager over the other 2. Why did creativity fall off so hard? I think it's a combination of a few different things. I'm not sure exactly like the number one thing I would point to, but like the one ring was very good against it. Like it just stops sandbags Archons, and like there's a very common play pattern of like you play the ring, you get to ignore the Archons, and you're either like going over the top with Tron stuff, or you're like going over the top with Titan, or you're just gonna remove their Archons that never really got any ETB value. Bowmaster is also like pretty good against the deck. It's not like the biggest change ever. Okay, game 3. Do you follow Karsten math for mana bases? If so, couldn't this entire conversation be pointed there? I'm familiar with the Karsten article, of course. Karsten article talks about not mana curves exactly. It talks about the number of sources required for casting specific spells. I don't think Karsten has like a mana curve article, but this is also some. I wrote an article about this on Channel Fireball. Is talking about how there's a lot of weird factors in the modern format that influence your land counts that is really hard to like be formulaic. Like here we have for Walking Ballista, for Hangarback Walker. Here we have a curve that like at like surface level looks relatively low, but in actually not sure what it would read on here. I think we saw Scolding. Let's see it on the scales. In actuality, like the curve, like you have a lot of mana sinks with Ballista and Hangarback Walker and Zabaz, and like Agatha Soul Cauldron lets you get some mana sinks. You really want to hit your 4th land drop in this deck. There's just always like so many weird factors, like companions impact modern mana bases. There's so many weird factors all the time that just like make it very difficult to do typical like mana curve math. Okay, so he did play around Scolding, I guess. Yeah, cantrips too. It's like there just really aren't formulas for this. Okay, I'll accept my opponent missing their land drop. Get a Sacred Foundry for Zabaz. Is it impossible to have sagas and granges? I don't think it's impossible. I think right now we should just be testing only granges. I guess I could have main phased the Grange, so if they had Fire Ice, we don't get got by that as badly. They should have let me target the thing. They have 5 spells in their hand. Is Conclave Mentor good in this deck? No, I would play any number of like the 2-mana Ozolith over any number of Conclave Mentor. Yeah, I'm more okay playing Saga and like the Eldraine lands if I have Wrenn and 6 to like just hit all my land drops. Yeah, brought back doesn't make any sense here, I think. Two damage, make a treasure, but they don't get the treasure if I pull both these off, so probably a little bit of a punt. Oh, they draw 2, discard 2. Okay, not a punt. Oh wait, this all, never mind. Everything targets. Never mind. Take it all back. Discards 2 Archons. It's interesting. We attack. Bummer. Seems like we're probably dead. Maybe we still had that Scales in play. Always a pretty bad matchup. Okay, then tap Dwarven Mine into turn. Okay, this was a card I was thinking about drawing. So if I Cauldron Ballista, I only have 4 pings available to me. If I attack with everything, I'm not dead to a single Archon swing. I'm probably dead to whatever removal they have. Maybe I'm supposed to attack first. I don't know that I'm like able or willing to like commit my entire board for the Archon kill. I feel like I kind of need to like Cauldron Hangarback Walker and then this turn and then Cauldron Ballista next turn. Way more if that's a Ravager. There's no Ravager. Just don't think I need to do anything yet. It's gonna be very hard to win this one. I guess they just kind of have to have nothing, and they have like at least 5 spells in their hand. You could kill now. Please tell me how I kill now. I'd love to. Do you mean like I could untap and have lethal against my opponent with 5 spells in their hand? Maybe. Kill Archon? That's true. I mean, it requires like literally all of my resources. I feel like I'm supposed to do this. Hangarback Walker this turn. Could kill the Archon and attack with 4 Ballista activations. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a losing play. Doesn't feel like we have a winning line though. Kind of wish my opponent would just finish me off. Like, let's get on with this. Okay. Always a very tough matchup for Scales. Definitely bad news for the deck that seems to be back a little bit. Zemo with the 11, Universe with the 6. Thank you. Over. Is Inkmoth like how you usually win that matchup? I feel like I just usually lose against Creativity. they just do what they did in that game. Removal spell, removal spell, removal spell, put an Archon into play. It's like just so hard to beat that ever. Yeah, let's go Sentinel into Scales Zabaz again against Rogran Triumph on the play. Yeah, and they also like main decking Prismari Command. It's like I think my opponent has 4 removal spells into Persistent Archon. Just like, you know, that formula is so good against you. Get rid in 6th. Good old school modern Magic, huh? We also like game 1 was especially frustrating that match because their draw was pretty bad, and it was like potentially something we could have capitalized on if we just didn't get so flooded. Was Scam or 4-color keeping Creativity down? I mean, one thing is I think a lot of like the Creativity players switch to Scam or 4-color. Is like there's always like the psychological aspect of deck choice too. It's kind of hard to see sometimes. And we're up against Creativity again. It's a little frustrating. Just start slamming some Orvars. Is it back? I've played now 6-7 matches with this deck, and 3 of them have been against Creativity. I don't know. Again, this formula is. Oh, Welding Jar also stops them from Creativitying on a treasure token. That's kind of cool. But it's maybe back. It's definitely, you know, most popular deck in the format I've felt for a long time. So if we draw untapped land next turn, it's pretty ideal. Obviously, we could try to Stirrings into one to still use our mana kind of well. So I can't take the Welding Jar. Can we Grange and Saga together if we do only one Grange for late game? You don't want to only play one Grange and like do this to your mana base. You need like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a good plan. I understand the loss of Saga's tough. I feel like you could do a blend of the two. You'd have to play what some chatters to consider to be an absurd amount of lands. Alright, so we have to play Ballista here to stop them from just going Dwarven Mind Creativity. Maybe we're supposed to just dump these also. Not sure. I guess I'm actually supposed to put at least one counter on the Ozolith. Probably should have done both counters. But again, this formula against Scales is just always so good. Removal spell, Creativity. But they don't have the Creativity. They had played Boseiju as a land, but they didn't have a green source otherwise, potentially. Pending my Patchwork, but these counters go on the Ozolith. So this is 5 counters. Then we go Ballista on 1. Then move 6 here. 8, 9, 10. Well, your turn. Any plans to revisit NT Asmo soon? I mean, I've got some ideas on how you could change the deck, but also like I think the deck most probably doesn't really change very much, so it's kind of tough for me to wanna circle back to it. If you kill Walker, isn't it lethal? Okay, so 2 damage on Walker. Yeah, that is +1 counter. Okay, cool line. I don't think I've ever had to do that before. Very cool line. Is this a coincidence? Does creativity get more popular again? I don't know. A little early to say. It is unfortunate that the day I tried to like some scales tech out, like, you know, play against creativity twice in the first 3 matches. Oh, did I not click submit? We did win both game 2s. Game 2s, those are the good ones. Okay, because we have 2 green 1-mana spells and only 1 green source, we're supposed to lead on scales here, so we can double spell next turn. If they play Rin and 6 this turn, oh, they're going to Binding. Okay, deal. It's pretty good for me, I think. Okay, untap land is pretty important here. Oh, even though we have an absurdly high number, couldn't find one. This card's Out by Moon. Oh, Out by Moon on Grange. Oh, they have Elishnorn. They can't persist that though. I mean, we don't have to play against it this game. Why not attack first? Sorry. Should have obviously attacked first. Ooh. Does Zabaz this turn or play the Ravager? So if I attack first, I can... Is there any world where I can kill them? So I can go Zabaz, destroy Ravager with Zabaz's ability. Cauldron the Ravager. So this way I'll have modulared 3 counters onto Zabaz. So 5 counters here. 5 counters here. Cauldron the Ravager. So 7 counters here. 4 counters after I kill both of these. Move 5 counters over to the Sentinel. So I'll have a 8/8 Sentinel that can ping 6 times. You can give Sentinel flying if you Cauldron Zabaz. Okay, so I think I just counted the lethal line, but I do think that is more damage. Yeah, that seems like it's almost always going to be more damage here to Cauldron the Zabaz. Yeah, so that's a lot more damage. Shout out to Grange. Although maybe we had lethal without it. Whew. Okay, well, I'll take 1-on-1 against creativity. I'll take it. Consider the land that comes with a counter and graphs. That card is not a plains. We need all plains for Idyllic Grange, baby. You gotta give all the plains if you're gonna Grange. Am I gonna play in Atlanta? Yeah, I'm gonna submit my deck this afternoon, and then I think I'm not gonna say what it is until Decklist submission or close to it. But I'm gonna do a small stream tomorrow, and I might just like double check what time Decklist submission is, and if it's close enough, we may just play a league or two with it. Island Serum Visions is likely a combo deck. What's the game plan versus Yawgmoth? I got 3 needles and some ballistas. Also, your cauldrons are good against their Yogs. Decks are due at 6 p.m. EST. Okay, so it's kind of late. Oh, it's creativity, or it's Phoenix. Sorry, Phoenix. Cool. I kept meaning to, like, maybe we'll do that on stream if we have time today. But I was meaning to, like, splash white for sideboard cards in the Phoenix deck. Likely keep the main deck, although potentially go back to mending over Is It Charm and play this shell. Ooh. Yeah, I think just playing second Patchwork has got to be the line. Gonna get basic planes, Scales, Patchwork, and then potentially playing this Ballista on 0, since I'm likely gonna Ballista on 0 anyways. Like, even if I draw another land next turn, I'm just gonna go Ozolith Cauldron. So I think we might as well just go in and get the extra 2 damage in right now. Chain to the rocks on the sideboard. Maybe. Yeah, we've done that in the past. To answer Sanctifier and Murktide. Are both Ozoliths 1 copy for space reasons? Only want run reasons, both. Yeah, I mean, so mostly building the spells felt very easy to me. Where I've played a lot of Scales, and I started with every single card that I feel like is mandatory. I feel like 4 Hangarback, 4 Ballista are mandatory. 4 Patchwork, 4 Ravager are mandatory. 3 Cauldrons are mandatory. You can play the 4th, but in my opinion, 3 are mandatory. The first Ozolith Shattered Spire, in my opinion, is mandatory. You can play second, can play third. Haven't played third in a while because of Cauldron, but first is mandatory. 4 Zabaz mandatory. First Ozolith mandatory. With less sagas, you would maybe want more copies, but the first one you have to play for sure. 4 Scales mandatory. 4 Stirrings mandatory. And then I really want to try Esper Sentinel because I'm playing this Idyllic Grange mana base. I'm currently viewing them as, like, mandatory for testing, and I doubt that you'll not want to play them. And so really with the main deck, I'm like, maybe I would play 1 less land and 1 more 1-mana Ozolith or 1 more 2-mana Ozolith. Is kind of where I'm at the moment. At the very least, it's a good budget version of Scales. I mean, isn't this mana base more expensive because we're playing like 15 fetches or 13 fetches, something like that? No Saga's a brave move. I know, but the Granges have been so fucking good. You know, I'm the only one brave enough to do this. I'll take that. Like, Granges, with the exception of this match so far, has been, like, really good every match. And you also get Esper Sentinel. But you lose the ability to search up, like, Silver Bullets off Saga. But you also no longer have Urza Saga in your deck, and you just lose to Alpine Moons and stuff like that. It's a very weird dynamic. Their deck is really cold to Damping Sphere. I built it, but on the draw, maybe a little too slow. If they're playing my list, they also have, like, 2 Flame of Anors in the sideboard. I feel like the Welding Jars are probably just where I want to be. Although all my other cards are good. We can trim Stirrings. It's a fine line between brave and stupid. Yeah, I know, but... Obviously have to mulligan the 1 tap land hand. If it was untapped, maybe I'd keep. Sentinel is, like, just so good in this matchup. Let's keep this. I think I'm gonna put back the Ballista. You mentioned Dowsing Device, System Infinite build. What are my thoughts about it? I spent some time testing it, and it didn't feel like it was good enough for the stream. It's like pretty inconsistent. Dowsing Device was like a little bit more awkward than I wanted it to be. There's like just spots where it was just kind of a weird card to have. It like the fact that you like have to flip it was like actively bad for me in a couple of spots. Think of running Goblins RCQ. Would you run one Cauldron or not worth it? I think not worth it. Like the first Cauldron is like kind of okay, but you only have like you have 2 Kikis, which are it's gonna be so hard for you to like get those in the graveyard realistically for Cauldron. 2 Kikis, 2 Sling Gangs, 1 Prospector, 2 Mog Fanatic, 3 Mog Fanatic maybe. I might play less because there's less Ragavans right now, but you know what I mean. It's just like. Is that really where we want to be? I'm not sure. I guess here we consider running not a place of the saga, but like 2 copies of 24 lands. Yeah, there's been a lot of people who've been talking about that. You absolutely could, I think. You could do that, but another thing too is like do you play Shadow Spear? Is that another spot? There's like that's best draw. There's a lot of like questions about that deck building decision that I'm not sure about. Yeah, I would probably not play a Cauldron and Goblins, but. If you played 1 copy, it wouldn't be the worst. Cauldron is also like a weirdly good sideboard card too. Like a lot of decks are running Curse Totem in the side for Yogg. Like I think it's like not unreasonable for creature decks to play like their own Cauldrons against the Cauldron decks. Have you ever played the twin deck running around when Cauldron got released? Is it tempo control? Never saw anyone getting a shot on stream. I have no idea what you're talking about. If you're talking about like a Kiki Cauldron deck, I did spend many hours trying to figure out what like a good Kiki Cauldron list would look like, and I never found one. Oh, I love Dimilich so much. All right, I think we're just chilling this turn. Maybe gonna try to combo kill them next turn. They don't have a lot of interaction. If we draw a Grange, it's going to be, I think, pretty easy to kill them, and we have a lot of Granges, of course. Then I'm trying the Soul Cleaver and Scales. We were talking about it. Soul Cleaver can't be good, I think. Like, or at the very least, it's like, I think it's worse than Sword of the Blood Chief, or whatever that card is called. Where, like, that card is 1 mana to equip, and only triggers on creatures dying instead of creatures or artifacts. And doesn't give vigilance, but it's 1 mana to equip instead of 2 mana, which I think outweighs those other small benefits. And I don't think that card's good. So I just it doesn't really seem like a card I want to put in the deck. Okay, so did not draw a Grange. I can play a 2/2 Walking Ballista. 4/4 Ravager, 6/6 Ravager, 10/10 when you sack Zabaz, 12/12, 13 counters onto the 2/2 Ballista. So not lethal, but I should be able to attack with everything and make them chump block the Ravager. Maybe I didn't need to play Ballista first. I guess I didn't. I think the idea hinges on how well the twin creatures can tempo in this modern. The idea is cool. Put Kiki under Cauldron with any of the twin creatures and kill them. Yeah, I mean, this is like something that you see kind of often where you'll kind of just gloss over the super hard part of your deck idea. Oh yeah, we put Kiki under Cauldron. What? Are you like, what are you doing? How does that happen? How do you go from having a Kiki Jiki into your hand into a Kiki Jiki underneath your Cauldron? Are you spending 5 mana casting it and they're killing it? Are you using Is It Charm to loot it away? Are you using Fable and Is It Charm and Prismari Command to loot it away? If you're looting a big creature into the graveyard and your plan is to put a 5+ mana value creature in your graveyard and then put it under Cauldron, should you do that, or should you put Gristlebrand underneath Agatha's Soul Cauldron? Since it's kind of the same anyways, you don't care about the mana value. Why are we trying to put Kiki Jiki under Cauldron and not Gristlebrand? It's like these are the questions I was asking myself when I was working on the deck, and at no point could I like find an answer to these questions that seemed like I should be playing Kiki Cauldron. There's another at 15. Does that change anything? 8, 10, 12, 13 Exaxes. Okay, let's get a 4-1 prediction going. Alright, Grange is good. It ain't that good. Alright, let's keep this one. Beautiful hand. Probably usually in these like very pretty hands where I like every single card, I usually just put back Ancient Stirrings. Fair play and product consider. Any big dude is unlikely to be castable, so you need to warp the deck around, put him in the yard so you can actually use them. The whole deck is a different deck where Kiki is castable, sorta, and you can put it in Is It tempo spells, making everything else enable it. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see a list. Genuinely, Moxie, I'd love to see a list. I spent dozens of hours when Cauldron came out trying to find a 75 where I felt like this what you're describing was like a cohesive game plan. I tried a lot of weird builds with like putting charge counters on Aether Vial. I tried to, you know, also kind of what you're describing is more, you know, vaguely tempo. I don't know how to exactly say. Usually Living End's a very good matchup for Scales. We don't have a Ravager or a Zabaz, and we're getting our Cauldron griefed, so we'll see, I guess. I hate Living End so much. They should have been Grief instead. Peace and love. Hangarback is pretty good against them too. When the Hangarback dies, you get your tokens. Is the matchup favored if you don't get your hand torn apart? Yeah, I think the matchup is still probably favorable. I just, like, boy, does this suck. You know, this is something I was saying for a long time. Like, again, we're like, now that we top decked Hangarback into Ravager, like, probably, like, best two, you could stack your deck in the right order also, to be honest. But, like, all of the worst games in Modern involved grief, and I think all the worst games still involve grief. Either, like, Living End does this to you, and you just don't top deck two perfects in a row, or you get scam griefed. There's just all the worst games. That means they don't have a Living End right now, and we're very likely to win, so we don't need to be the most salty ever. Definitely playing Scales this turn, and then putting a counter on the Hangarback. Do I have lethal? This is 8 counters. Yeah, not lethal. Yeah, we talked about the WotC layoffs. I mean, I don't have like any hot take other than it sucks and it's shitty, you know what I mean? I have the most the same take everybody else has, I feel. Alright, cool. Complained the whole time, won anyways, the Aspiringspike way. Alright, and also again, this matchup is good, like your Ravagers, your Zabazes, your Hangarback Walkers, this is usually how you win. So I was kind of thinking that we just didn't need to play any Graveyard Hate. We could be playing Welding Jars instead and try to stick to this game plan. Hopefully it works. The Sentinels are not that big a deal, but I think they add a kind of an interesting dynamic. You also do have Agatha's Soul Cauldron as a little bit of Graveyard Hate. 2-man Ozolith usually a little too slow. Yeah, like layoffs right before Christmas on a super duper profitable year. Incredibly shitty. My super spicy hot take. I think I'm gonna trim 2 patches. Could you play Binding in the Goryo's deck? You could. I haven't really missed it that much. I think it's a little bit of tension with Preordain, and I think you mostly you'd be cutting Force of Negations or Preordain for Binding if you want to, and you know, feel free to do that. Okay, probably a good enough hand to keep on the draw. Put it against a Multi 6. Boo! Boo! It's okay. It's fine. If you just boo your living end opponent, they'll stop 0-man and spelling you until you die. Boo! Oh, they didn't take the Shardlessation. I mean, I can maybe beat a Waker plus an Agent this turn, although it seems like that's not what's happening. Boo! I've not done a great job of drawing Welding Jar today. They don't have their third land yet. They almost definitely have a Cascade spell because they didn't take Agent off the Curator. We have nothing. Okay, we have more than nothing. Hooray! I think I'm going to Grange the Zabaz here. My opponent says Puff. What does that mean? What deck developed in? I'll say it after Decklist or do. Wait, they flipped over until there's only 2 cards in their deck. They have Damping Matrix. I really have to bring in Force of Vigor now. I mean, they only have 1, actually. I don't think I can bring it in against just 1 Damping Matrix. Oh, there's 2. There's 2. Right on time. Okay, game 3. Yeah, they also have delay lines. Yeah, the Patchworks are your worst cards by a lot. I think I'm just okay cutting all of them. These are 2 of your best cards in the matchup, so let's keep. Despite being a 5-lander. Should you have left the Ravager to die to living end? I think it's better for it to come back. You don't get to, I don't think you get to modular anything because there's no creatures in play as the Ravager dies. I'd be wrong about that, but I think I'd just rather have it in play. The correct play, you do get the modular. Because triggers when you get priority. Okay. I thought that because like that living in is a weird card, obviously. Good to know that you get the modular. Brutal grief again. True land. Let's get a Temple Garden for Force of Vigor. 5-land keep. Yeah, five lands with 2 of my best cards on the play. I feel like this is like a fine keep. I also feel like you wouldn't have said shit if I drew 2 spells instead of 2 lands off the top, to be honest. I feel like you wouldn't have said anything. Is what it is. Run it back for one time. We're on the play. 2 of our best cards of the matchup against an opponent who molded, or I guess we didn't know they molded 6 yet, but I think it's like I would keep again. I would definitely keep again.